France has expelled 14 Libyan diplomats on Friday. One source said they were using their status as cover. The Tunisian border town of Dehiba was hit by more than a dozen mortars fired by Gaddafi troops during that fighting in the western mountains. In Benghazi, the rebels have been boosted by news they are set to receive millions of dollars from a coalition of Western and Arab countries. US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said Washington would try and change the law to unlock some Libyan state funds frozen in the US for the rebels. From Moscow came a warning to the coalition countries to respect the UN resolution. As regards possible proposals to sanction, through the UN Security Council, a ground operation in Libya, the resolution 1973, which the Security Council has already adopted, directly and unequivocally rules out such an option. In Tripoli, more talking. Up to 2,000 leaders representing the country's 850 tribes gathered. They called for national unity, urged the rebels to disarm, demanded NATO to end their bombing campaign. The rebels dismissed the meeting, claiming Gaddafi pays the tribes to stay in power. The exodus continues. Crammed into small boats, over 800 migrants arrived in the Italian island of Lampedusa. Their flight from the African coastline on Friday is adding to the crisis that has raised tension between European governments and prompted plans to temporarily restore border controls. Silvio Berlusconi had vowed to clear the island. On land, the Tunisian border became a bottleneck of cars. Many of these fleeing Libya are the families of the rebels escorted to safety before the men returned to the front line. In the Ramada camp in Tunisia, 50 kilometres from the crossing, the UN's refugee agency says 31,000 have already fled to Tunisia and estimate that number will rise to 50,000 by the end of the month. Health fears for the families and their futures have grown. The situation is a tragedy. If it carries on the way it is going, all the refugees from the camp will fall ill with very serious and dangerous illnesses, especially with the toilets we use. The kids will get sick. It really is a tragedy. The UN is working to place refugees with host families in Tunisia, but over 1,000 have been living in these tents for 2 weeks, where food is scarce and facilities basic.
The Japanese government has ordered the closure of the Hamoka nuclear plant in central Japan. It follows a report